Marvel's What If Season 1 has been a roller coaster of beloved characters, beautiful visuals, incredible action, and mouth-dropping awe. In this series, we're taken on a journey with the Watcher, who guides us through realities in which small changes are made to the already well-known canon of the MCU, completely changing the events. And with the last episode finally released, it's time for us to dive into the multiverse and rank all 9 episodes from worst to best. Hey guys, I'm Emily from It's Gone Viral. Thanks so much for checking out this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you never miss another video. Now, a small disclaimer before we start. We are going to try and avoid spoilers as much as possible, but since we will be talking about the story and plot, here is your official spoiler warning. But now, let's get into it. Here's our ranking of Marvel's What If episodes from worst to best. Number 9. What if T'Challa was a Starlord?
A Ravager never flies solo. I said never flies solo.
Is that some kind of catchphrase?
Now, don't get me wrong, this episode was fantastic. In fact, they all were. But unfortunately, one has to be last. Even though this episode has some incredible fights and there are several surprising moments, with Thanos now being a good guy and the Collector being the big villain, alongside seeing Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther one last time, this episode does still fall short on what the rest of the series manages to create. It feels the most normal episode out of the series, and even though that's not a bad thing, it definitely didn't have us glued to our screens quite as much as the rest of the series.
Yandu, sweet! Now it's a party.
Ain't no way in hell I was gonna leave here without my kid.
Number 8. What if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? This possibility shows us what would happen if Peggy Carter took on the famous Captain America mantle.
What in heavens?
This first episode of the season shows Peggy getting the super soldier serum after Steve Rogers is injured, and how she has to battle against Hydra as well as the discrimination of being a woman with military power in the 1940s. This episode follows closely to the first Captain America film, however it's a vast improvement, and a lot of people ended up preferring this episode to the MCU film it's based off. However, similar to What If T'Challa was a Starlord, besides the unexpected fight at the end with the rumoured Shuma-Gorath, this episode is very grounded in reality, like Phase 1 itself. And unfortunately, it does get overshadowed by the more adventurous later episodes.
That was brilliant! Let's give it another go.
Number 7. What if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark? The 6th episode in the season shows us what would have happened if the Black Panther villain Killmonger saved Tony Stark's life in the first Iron Man.
That was a spectacular entrance, seriously.
And Tony missed the experience needed to become Iron Man in the first place, prompting his new change in perspective. This episode is a brilliant watch. Fans of Iron Man 1 and Black Panther will appreciate it, as you constantly wonder what Killmonger's real intentions are and his morality. With a couple of surprise deaths and a couple of expected ones, it manages to tell the story very well. However, even with the incredible fight at the end in Wakanda, this episode doesn't have enough for us to think we're going to go back and rewatch this episode endlessly, unlike the case with several of the others.
Wakanda forever!
Number 6. What if Thor was an only child? This episode takes us through what would happen if Thor never had the god of mischief Loki as his brother.
There you are, all the way down there, so tiny, I almost stood on you. How are you?
This episode is fantastic and is a lovely break from the intensity of some of the episodes that came before and after. Unsurprisingly, seeing as it involves Thor, this serves as a more comedy-driven episode, as Thor travels to Earth for the first time to host the world's best intergalactic party. With many laughs, some hilarious twists, and a couple of incredible fights with a well-known off-world Avenger, this episode is a great watch and a fantastic little palate cleanser to just sit back and enjoy.
Oi! Where's that son of a witch, Thor Odin's son?
What did you say? Vandal, tell me, is that butt-ugly popsicle stick talking to me?
Number 5. What if the world lost its mightiest heroes? A shocking episode that tells the tale of what would happen if something was secretly killing off the Avengers, and also how that would affect the events of the first Avengers without the actual Avengers there to stop Loki.
Such insolence will not be tolerated.
This is a wonderful little murder mystery-esque episode, and although we of course won't be spoiling what's behind the disappearance of the Avengers, we will tell you that it's an amazing journey with many twists and turns, and you'll definitely be questioning who's behind it the entire way through, with a very satisfying payoff. In all honesty, this episode is only lower on the list because eventually you know who or what's behind it, like with any other murder mysteries. And the fun is in not knowing and finding out.
Fury, it's hope! It's all about hope!
Number 4. What if zombies? This episode takes you through what would happen if most of the world's heroes, as well as most of its people, were brain-hungry, flesh-eating zombies.
Wait, what do you guys... That sort of seems like overkill.
A brilliant episode of something that fans have been eager to see on the screen for some time. Filled with all your favourite Marvel heroes, most of them zombies. Not only is this episode an action-packed adventure with plenty of fights, but it's many surprises that will leave you in awe, as well as on the edge of tears. This is probably the best episode to show someone who has little to no Marvel knowledge, as unlike several of the other episodes, you don't need much prior knowledge on characters, as everything is very streamlined. We would love a What If Zombies 2, that's for sure. Number 3. What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? Now, what can we say about this episode? Everyone who has seen this rates this episode highly on the list, and we have to do the same. Changing the story in which Strange, instead of losing his hands in the car accident that started him on his quest for healing, loses his beloved girlfriend Christine.
Why does this keep happening? Aren't we allowed to be happy?
Which sends him on a dark and dangerous path, trying to find ways to break the timeline and bring her back. Now, we won't give much away, because if you haven't yet, you need to see this episode for yourself. But you can expect to see some truly breathtaking scenes, some absolutely incredible and mind-boggling fights, as well as the overall pain of Doctor Strange in his journey of trying to bring back a loved one. Easily one of the best episodes.
Nice cape. But I draw the line of bugs.
Number 2. What if Ultron won? The second to last episode of the season shows us what would happen if Ultron succeeded in transferring his body into what we know as Vision and got possession of the Mind Stone.
We're too late. He did it.
This episode in itself is a roller coaster from start to finish, not only dealing with Ultron successfully achieving peace in our time within the first 10 minutes, but then killing Thanos for the rest of the Infinity Stones in a split second and then going on to find and fight the Watcher, who up to this point has narrated us through the entire season. As well as some of the best cinematic action scenes in the entire season, this episode of What If truly has everything that makes this series good inside it, and it's near impossible to not have your jaw on the floor whilst watching. Number 1. What if the Watcher broke his oath? The grand finale of Season 1 this episode is simply the best episode, and don't even try and argue it. Surprisingly tying every previous episode together to end on one spectacular note. This episode is a visual feast of beautiful scenery, incredible fighting and surprising moments.
Crown Prince of
And you! And you!
You've been
Haven't you too?
Thor.
And you! And you!
Calm down.
The only negative that we have about this episode is that the first third feels a touch slow, but by the end of the episode it works together nicely with callbacks and references. But on the whole, this episode is fantastic and an incredible note to end Season 1 on, with the very high chance that we should expect a second season in the future. We hope, at least.
Interesting. Usually you people are much easier to kill.
So that's it, guys. Every episode of the incredible What If Season 1 ranked. And we cannot stress to you enough, if you're a fan of Marvel or superheroes in general, this show needs to be at the top of your watch list. Do you agree with us? Let us know in the comments below. And remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching It's Gone Viral.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Kevin Hart.
Hi, my name's Eric Snowstreet.
Hi, I'm Margot. I'm Journey.
I'm James McAvoy.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe.
I'm Rebel Wilson.
I'm Jeremy Clarkson.
I'm going to be translating some Scottish tweets for It's Gone Viral.
On It's Gone Viral.
Ooh. On It's Gone Viral.